Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, I want to talk to you about a Tinder pouch survival kit. Let's go old school. Stay tuned. The concept behind this Tinder pouch survival kit goes back thousands of years. This is something that you can wear around your neck. It has a light cord. It's easy to snap. If you would catch it on something, it's just a cotton line. You can carry it either around your neck or, if you wish, under your arm. Swing it around like this to keep it dry during a rain. The advantage of this is that it's something that you can always have with you. So even when you don't have your kit or your bag, you're always going to have this. Now, our ancestors were tough people, and they slept in hollow logs, rock ledges. They would find all kinds of places where they could get in and out of the rain in a barn like I'm in right now. So they had a lot of places, a lot of options to them, and people back in those days were pretty kind, and if you're traveling through and you seem to be a decent sort of person, they'd let you spend the night in their barn. And so I want to talk to you about the contents of this kit, and I want to give a shout out to a couple of really great guys. First of all, Blackie Thomas, thank you so much for your advice, and we talked a lot about this and gave you some ideas about it. And then also my good friend Jamie Burley, and he also had a great input on this, and he's wanting to produce something similar to this, although he hasn't got his version put together yet, and we'll be letting you know about that when that comes on the market. First of all, here's a picture of a guy and his horse, and this is about the era that we're looking for. So this would be probably 1890s through the 1920s, 1930s or so. So first of all, let's talk about the pouch. This is an old leather tobacco pouch or tinder pouch, and I did put some longer cotton strings on here so that it could be worn around the neck. Ordinarily they were much shorter, and you would carry this in a pocket, perhaps a hip pocket or perhaps a bib pocket of a pair of overalls. Upon opening it, there are several items inside that we can see right away, and first we pull out is a dowel pin that has about 10 feet of jute on here, and this is for cordage. It's also for tinder. Next, we have just a standard nail, and this is good for putting into a tree, for hanging something on. It's also good for making an improvised frog gig out of. Next, we have a small package of buttons, just held together with some cord. And these are just 3 separate buttons that we could use to repair a shirt or a pair of trousers or a button for our overalls should we need it. Next, we have our fishing line. And this is about 30 feet, 35 feet of fishing line. We have some flat lead here to flatten out for sinkers, a cork that has some extra hooks in it. There is one hook already attached. And you can see how we do the lead sinker. You just fold it around and pinch it tight. Of course, this is the bobber. And there is the rest of the flat lead. And of course, it's on a pencil, so that gives us something to write with. Next, we have a piece of waxed paper. And there is a special way to wax this that helps it become waterproof, but you can also write on it. And of course that goes along with the pencil so that we can make notes, draw a map, or whatever we might need to make a note about. The next item is wrapped up in another piece of our waxed paper. And what it is, it's a small plug of tobacco. Now, you don't have to smoke it or dip it or chew it or snort it. Tobacco has been used for thousands of years and has some really great medicinal uses, and you would have found this in a lot of early kits. How you use this is you take these dry leaves, and using a stick and a stone to make a mortar and pestle, you grind it up and make a paste or a poultice out of it. And you apply it onto the wound, and then you wrap it with a handkerchief. My grandpa said that his grandfather did this many, many years ago, back in the 1920s, when he scratched himself badly on a barbed wire fence. But it has antiseptic properties, and it will also help to stop bleeding. It's useful for boils, for skin irritations, for sores, bruises, and strains. So it's really good for topical applications. You can also make a tea from the leaves, and it's good for intestinal worms. It is a laxative, it's an emetic, or it will encourage vomiting. It's an expectorant, so it certainly makes you make a lot of saliva. They can use it for fainting and dizziness, as well as for headaches. And if you light some of this on fire and then blow the smoke into someone's ear, it can help with an earache. Next, we have a small silver box of Strike Anywhere matches. And I also have a striker down inside, but there are 35 matches in here, and so it's very compact, and that's a really good way to get a fire started, of course, and it's a way to keep them safe while you're traveling. The next item that we have is a needle and a couple different types of thread. We have some waxed linen, and then we have just a black thread. And of course, this is for repairing pants and gear and all those sort of things. We have our other cord here if we need to make a shelter, but this is going to be strong enough that we can use it for working on our clothes and keeping those rips from getting worse. The next item that we have is a small metal thimble. Now, I know this isn't necessary, but if you're sewing through heavy fabrics such as heavy denim or a light leather, you're definitely going to want something like this to protect your fingertips, and it just makes the sewing and repairs a whole lot easier. The next item that we have is just a stub of a candle. And this is useful for several things, and I'll show you here in a minute how you can use that. But a candle, of course, can be used to seal a paper, an envelope, if you want to make your own out of a piece of paper. It can also be used to wax a knife blade to keep it from rusting. It can be used to lubricate zippers, and also, of course, a candle makes a handy little light. And this is how you use your jackknife, which of course you'll carry in your pocket. You find a nice place for the blade to go in, and you put the stub of a candle on the other blade, and then you light it. The next item that we have is a small glass bottle of salt. Salt is just an awesome thing to have with you. It makes almost any meal better, and just one of those things you carry with you. And if you get really hot and sweaty, you're going to need some salt, so this is a good way to carry it. Next item is this antique brass Brunton compass. This is a really great pocket compass. It comes apart for cleaning, and once you learn to navigate well enough, this is really all you need. Remember that our ancestors traversed the whole of the United States and many places around the world with actually less than this, and they managed to make it pretty good. So part of it's just learning your navigation skills, but if you have this, you know what you're doing, this will do you pretty good. Now, the last two items that the old timers would have carried would be a cotton handkerchief, and then, as already been mentioned, a pocket knife. This is a 3-bladed Stockman, and of course that would have been very important. They would carry that in their front pocket for the knife and the rear pocket for the handkerchief. So there it is. I know it doesn't seem like a lot to us in our modern day, but our ancestors did with this and a lot less. And I think it's very important for us to practice their skills, get to know the kind of tools that they used, and understand why they worked so well. And of course, obviously, they survived, they made it through because we're here today. And so, hope you've enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun putting this kit together, and hope you'll enjoy doing something similar as well. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure and check out the links in the description box below, just under the More button. And while you're down there, you'll also find our waypointsurvival.com link. And this is where you can sign up to take survival and bushcraft training classes at our beautiful facility in Southern Ohio. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.